Cool. So welcome to my talk about Aura Transformation and Aura Mediator courses. It has been, I think, over a year since I did the last one, which I couldn't believe when I actually looked back. I've been very busy doing lots of other things, and yeah, it's a very beautiful energy to work with. And the intention of the call is for you to have a real feel and understanding for the energy that you and also that this becomes like the piece of research that people can do before having their aura transformation, so that they know what it is and what's happening. And people used to have to read a whole book. We used to have to convince people to buy a book and read a book, and then they could have an aura transformation. And now we've tried to simplify the process and make it more accessible. So there is like a PDF that you can read, and then you can watch one of these videos. And so I did do a talk, I think it was November, the year, not last year, the one before. And it was 2 hours and 40 minutes in the end, with the theory and the history, my story, 40 minutes of Q&A, people just asking lots of questions, which was amazing. And so I kind of don't want to, I watched that again just to see what I was saying. And I don't really want to repeat all the bits in that again. I mean, I'm going to have to repeat the theory bit, but the idea is that I get the theory and the history and what you need to know kind of condensed, so that we can use it again and again, and other aura mediators can use it again with their clients. And also, I really want to hear from Aura Transform people and aura mediators that are joining. I think are joining the call. This has not been planned. This is just an invitation. I've also told aura mediators that they can use this, send their clients to this call. So you might be here because of one of someone is an aura mediator and invited you, and then I would invite you to go to them for the aura transformation. And also, if you were about to train or want to train and you've invited people because you want to get going before your training, that was also an invitation. So the idea for me is this has been a huge passion of mine for must be over 10 years now. And I've really, talked about it 1,000 million times. And I've also got 30 odd videos about it. I've got, I think there's like at least 10 to 20 books by Annie Senov, the founder, about this. I've got hundreds of articles about it that I've written. So there's just so much information. It's impossible to condense really into such a short, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but to get it concise isn't an easy thing. But I wanted to do the heavy lifting and legwork for people just because I've done it so many times. I have to say my voice is going already. I just wanted to read out just to see where people are. There's some Santa Barbara, Glasgow, Devon, Dorset, more Canada, Skelmersdale, I don't even know how to say it, Skelmersdale, Devon, Portland, Sweden, Edinburgh, Michigan, wow, and Kansas, I'm sure, is being represented. I have a fan club in Kansas now, thanks to Laura, who has organized for me to train my first ever training or aura mediator course in America. Is going to happen in June in Kansas, and the UK one will be in September, hopefully. Well, I want it to be in September, and already people are signing up. So that's very exciting. So there's people from all over the world. Amazing. Fuerteventura, wow. Naples, Missouri, I think that's how you say it. Canada, Ayrshire, that's Scotland, isn't it? I think. Well, I'm sorry if I butchered those places. So yes, it's very nice to have you here. I think over 80 people signed up for this, so there's going to be a lot of people on the replay. And the last one I did of this, it went out, it's been watched over 800 times or something. So I'm like, oh, wow. So what I'm thinking I'll do is chop up the bits of the old one and the bits that work of this one and put it all together into like a little mini thing that people can watch afterwards. So I'm going to do my very best to be concise, but it's not my massive forte. I love this subject and there's so much to say about it. What else do I want to start with? Is there people here that are willing to talk? Maybe you could put it in the chat, just say I'm willing to talk about my experience 80 Aura Mediator, just so I have an idea of how much space I need at the end to like fit everyone in. That would be handy. And I'm hoping also that there might be some time for cool, thank you. And there's going to be time for some Q&As, but I'm hoping that I get what you need in. Yeah, so I'm going to say the last one went deeply into my story, like the more personal, vulnerable shares. I used to, well, I use my story as all the things that can go wrong with an aura, and then to describe how an aura transformation really helps with all of that. And I'm not going to do that today, or try not to do that today, because that's in the other video. Cool, so there's a few of you. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 so far. Okay. And there's probably more people arriving. Who am I? That's an easy one. So I'm Sarah. I grew up in Switzerland, and I was thinking about this today, that I'm born in Switzerland, raised in Switzerland, and I'm Danish and Welsh, and this originated in Denmark. So I've ended up working with Danish and Swedish and Norwegian and Finnish people, which is interesting. And I'm Welsh too, and that's like a very, Celtic pagan kind of, very earthy energy. So actually my energy is very much like the aura transformation energy that we work with. That's maybe going a bit too far already, but anyway, my energy is really a very good example of this crystal energy that we work with, and I really want you to get a good flavor of what this energy feels like, how does it work and why. But I want you to really connect to my transmission and what you can see visually of my energy, if you're visual in that way, and also physically. And I was just wondering if those of you that are aura mediators, I don't think there are as many as I thought would be here, but there's a couple of you. So maybe if we just take a second to connect to your connection to the crystal energy, you know what I mean when I'm saying that. Just take a moment and do that, so that the people in the room and in the replay might get a stronger sense of what this energy feels like, because it is very beautiful to connect to. And I will also do a little mini demo at the end of like, a little energy exercise, so you can have a real feel into that. Cool, I can feel that, that's nice. So I wanted to just say a little bit about myself, and that I was like, very studious. I am very studious, and I was like top of the class at school, and we didn't even know till we got all the results that I was right at the top there, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I've always studied hard, worked hard, and really enjoyed delving deep into subjects. I was the only one that got a first in my business degree, an undergraduate. I got a master's in human resource and knowledge management. I've worked for the Welsh Assembly government, for unions, for development education centres, for charities. I've done all sorts of, and I had dreadlocks then too. And so I feel like I'm super grounded, practical, on the ground person that's very kind of studious, and, I'm Swiss in that way. And so I think that I wanted to say that, just to say that I really want to bring healing work and transformational energy work to be a serious profession, that people really get it, and that it becomes easier and easier to talk about. Because when I started doing this 10 or so years ago, I got it was like ridiculed. People didn't really believe it. I still meet skeptics, but I show them a before and after picture, and they're like, okay. There's not much you can say except that it works. And yeah, and so I think that is a big deal to me, is that people feel it, sense it, take it seriously. And that's all of the work I do really kind of is trying to ground this sort of work, take it out of weird, mystical, woo, impossible to understand kind of language, and bring it into everyday language that makes sense to your everyday life and people's everyday life. So I think that, I'm super grounded, well educated, and I know what I'm talking about. And I think
meeting.
someone needs to be muted. Hang on. Okay, just watch that you're not unmuting yourself accidentally. Thank you. Okay. So how did I end up doing this? As I was working in all these places and doing all this work. I'm going to change the world, make the world a better place. It was very important to me to make a difference. Didn't feel like I was making a difference at all. And it felt like I was pushing papers or just like applying for fundings and doing little scrappy things. And it was just not really working for me. I was also, you know, like an activist and in the party scene, the life and soul of the party. I burnt the candle at every end possible. Long story short, you can watch it in the other video. I kind of frazzled myself to bits, but something very powerful was happening at the same time. And I think I was always destined to dissolve my own aura to nothing, because it kind of made me supremely aware of all the other timelines I'd ever lived in, or of how energy, I could see through the veil all of a sudden. It was like a rude awakening. It was scary. I suddenly could see energy. I could feel energy. I could play with energy. I could put my hands on people and things would happen. And it was just like, what is this? Like, I don't know, you know, what this is. So I started trying to find out, what is this energy coming out my hands and that kind of thing. And I ended up on a Reiki course and doing healing on myself, but I had to, because my life was a mess. I was a mess. And you can see later on my before and after pictures that you can see tangibly where I'd got to. I was traumatized, toxic relationships, all that kind of thing. And I heard about aura transformation, and I just knew it was going to be, I just felt it. And a lot of you that are attracted to it just know. You just know that it's going to be part of your dharma, it's part of your journey. It's either just going to be an upgrade for yourself, or you know you want to help other people. You want to deliver this to other people. So having the aura transformation 2013 changed my life, like drastically, almost, you know, overnight. There was so much amazing stuff that went on overnight. And having an aura transformation is a beautiful process, like the session itself, but it actually keeps going and getting better and stronger and stronger and stronger. And I still have never gone backwards from that point. You know, it hasn't worn off. It gets stronger and clearer. You become more yourself, more solid. And if you want a description of the crystal energy that I want you to sense, is that it has this sort of kind of heightened awareness. It's sharp, like truth, like clear, like someone really in their crystal energy and in like embodied. It feels like their words are, you land with you. You can feel the person. It's very solid energy. It's a love, intelligent, balanced energy. And it had such a profound effect on me. I knew I was going to train straight away, so I did. And then within 5 minutes, I went and trained even more with Annie Senov, the founder in Finland. She was doing a planet energy course. And within 5 minutes after that, I was on an airplane sharing aura transformation in South Africa. And I started in South Africa because no one would take me seriously in England. Because I was like, the lifestyle I'd been living and who I was then, and you know, all the other things I was doing, people were just like, what is she doing? I kind of had disappeared and came back sparkly and strong and shiny, but talking about all this weird stuff. And people were like not having it really. So I ended up somehow, I know the story, but it's a bit long. But I ended up in South Africa, and I started doing talks all over the Cape Town. And just, you know, I just put talks on, and then people came and people took me for face value. And I started, you know, I did loads of aura transformations down there, and then came back to England, and then started going up and down the country and sharing it all over there, and up and everywhere in the country, doing physical live talks. And then I also shared it in Canada, in Australia, got invited to Taiwan, and other places I've probably forgotten. And so it's just been a huge, big part of my life, and I really, really believe in it. And it had such an impact on me, I couldn't help but share it. It was the key to making a difference. And the difference it made in my life was humongous ripple effect, not only on my daughter, on my family, on my extended family, my community, and then obviously all the clients and places I've been, and you know, all that kind of thing. So it's been, I feel like effective, you know, I don't feel like I'm just pushing paper and not making a difference. But so for me, it's been incredible. And let me just see. Yeah, the energy speaks for itself at that point, if people knew me before or not. There's definitely a Sarah before and a Sarah after. And I think a lot of people that have had an aura transformation can feel the same way. There's just such a marked difference about how you sense yourself and how you sense others in the world. You know, how you sense you in your environment and you to others in the world is it's a different experience of being human. And then I got headhunted in a way from, I knew I wanted to or was going to be an instructor, but I was asked to join the team of instructors, and that was incredibly rigorous training. Like, it wasn't just, oh yeah, now you get to be an instructor. It was, you have to prove and test yourself. You have to prove that you can hold that much energy and that much transformation in an online course, in an in-person course live. So, you not only do you have all your students or people that are training transforming tremendously and becoming active in holding that energy, but then you're also they're aura transforming up to 9, 12 people on a course. You have to be able to hold everyone's process. So you have to build the muscle to do that. You don't just walk in and go, I can do that. You can't be cocky with it, because it doesn't work that way. You have to build the muscle in being able to do that. And so it was a good few years of doing that, because I had to watch and be part of 32 people training as aura mediators before I could be certified as an instructor. And that happened like days before the pandemic. It was 10 days before the pandemic that I ran or ended the biggest training that had ever happened in the UK. And then ended up here in Scotland a few days later in an empty house, and then the pandemic started and I couldn't do aura transformations or aura mediator courses, and that's when I managed to put together all my own work, all my babies. I'm getting hot. And that, you might have heard of me from that work. I do the kinesiology. I have Visibility Gateway, which helps practitioners be visible, and that was designed for aura mediators originally, to help them be able to talk courageously about aura transformation. But it's actually very useful kind of business visibility and magical marketing for magical people. And there's one more of them happening before I change it completely, and that will be next month, I think. Then there's also Love Again, the heart retrieval mapping consciousness journey, which some of you might have been on or heard about. You might have seen me talking about that. And that is also, I think aura transformation and the heart retrieval process that I've created, they work very well together in that it's teaching you all the tools you need to do the deep core wound healing, forgiveness, letting go, and all the deepest healing work that you need to do in a lifetime if you're in that mindset, growth mindset. It teaches you the tools, techniques, and ways of doing that, and holds space for you to do it. It's incredible, life-changing, amazing course. So none of it is standalone, I guess. For me, everything that I offer is because I believe in it 100%, tried and tested. It works, it makes a difference. Nothing is better than the other, if you know what I mean. I also have a course called Transmute Distortion and another one called Money Gateway. They're mostly for practitioners, to help them in all, being better practitioners, but also being better at business, healing their money story, all that kind of thing. So I have lots of hats, lots of things going on, and that's why I haven't done many talks on this, but I absolutely love teaching aura transformation. It is the energy that shifts when let's say I'm teaching here at this table. The days before the course starts, the energy, it's almost like a huge portal. I don't know if I want to call it a portal, but it's like a stream or opening of the crystal Venus energy opens up. Everyone is feeling, throughout the whole course, people feel very alert, very crystal clear, very balanced, don't get tired really, and just feel energized and empowered and activated by the energy itself. And then at the end of the course, I have to go, goodbye now. Go away, leave me alone. And so it's just been an absolutely incredible journey to have been on. And I would say, yeah, it's just amazing. And I'm going to try and do my best to explain what it is now. Oh, first though, I have to tell you that just enter this now, as if I'm telling you a nice bedtime story or some sort of creation myth that someone's read to you. Like, you can take it all with a pinch of salt. It is, who knows what's true or not true. And what I've found is not difficult, but important to get, is that I'm talking about energy that moves every day, consciousness shifting constantly, world events shifting consciousness, collective consciousness changing, children changing. Energy is always moving, shifting, and changing and evolving. And, you know, it is actually, it's very hard to put a flag in the sand and everyone agree that that thing is called an etheric layer or an astral body or an aura or whatever. So I want you to loosen the language and the themes and the theory that you know and that I know. I'm going to teach you or talk to you about this theory and this myth, this creation myth that Annie brought for us, Annie Senov, and yeah, so you have to, because I've had so many long kind of arguments with beautiful friends about what this means and what that means. And it doesn't really matter, to be honest. We're all talking about the same thing, just calling it different things, I think. And also, I'm going to try and, you know, explain everything in everyday language, layman's terms, but also sprinkle in some more esoteric geek stuff for those of you that are into this stuff. So what is an aura transformation? It is a 4-hour one-to-one session in 2 parts. Part 1, 2.5 hours, actual aura transformation. You only have that once. It's a one-time thing. And then you have the balancing session soon after, and you can have as many balancings as you like into the future, but your aura transformation includes that first balancing, which is really important. It is really about people coming into their own power and grounding and physicality to really be in your body. Many people are not in the body, not really. I'll show you afterwards the drawings of auras, but most of us, or when you're in your old aura, so there's old aura and new aura, which is a bit annoying, but never mind. In the old aura, your spirit energy is far away, like hanging on for thread above you, kind of trying to show you things, direct you, and you maybe meditate for a couple of hours a day to try and talk to it, or some of you have a good connection to your higher self. Some people don't even know they have one. It's sort of up there. People have trauma, people are fragmented, people have they're disassociated, people are some people live in their minds and they identify only with the mind, and not the heart so much, and not their spirit or consciousness in that way. So having an aura transformation is helping people embody their spirit energy into their body. We call it crystallizing. The aura transformation itself is beautiful, pleasant, and healing, and lots happens, but you probably won't remember loads of it by 2 years later. But the crystallization process has started from the session, the moment you had your AT. And then you're crystallizing more and more of your spirit energy over the coming 9 months to a year, but sometimes longer. And there's no race, there's no medal. No one's going to go like, woo, you made it. And I also reckon, from my understanding of my own process, is that when you have a big cataclysmic life-changing event, or move somewhere new or whatever, something like that, your crystallization process might kind of reactivate, or you're moved to a new platform of consciousness, and you kind of have to recrystallize from there. So I don't think it's a static, once you're crystallized, you're done forever. I think it's a moving, breathing process, and it shifts with world events and things that go on, and etc. So you're learning some of the language now. What we do is, another way of looking at an aura transformation is an upgrade of your operating system. If you think about it, we were in horse and cart like 100 years ago, and now we have smartphones and satellites, and I don't know what else. So we're constantly going like, oh, I think I need to upgrade my phone every 2 years, my car every 3, my TV every so often. I'm upgrading, I don't know, like my smart kettle or something. You know, there's like, you're upgrading everything except yourself. So I think a nice way of looking at it, an aura transformation is an upgrade in the operating system. And when I think about that, an operating system is all the energetic parts of you, how we function in the world. How do I feel about myself? How do we know if we like someone or not? By being near them. You know, that's our auras and energies interacting, our subconscious messaging, our gut microbiome is talking to each other. There's all sorts of information. And then when you fall in love or something, is that trauma or is it spirit to spirit? And like, there's a lot of energetic information. It's not like, I think 10 years ago, people would be like, oh, auras, blah, blah, blah. But I think people are getting it now. Like, we have an energy field and it's important. And there are ways for it to work well, and there's ways that it really doesn't work well. And I think that over time, our operating system has become more and more like struggling more and more to cope with the life that we're in. And aura transformation is a way, like through and past, to help you be kind of, I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute. Like just to help you align with the current energies and consciousness. I have to try and keep myself together with my notes because otherwise I go off on one. Yeah, so another part of the aura transformation story is that we are helping you upgrade your operating system to the latest consciousness available on planet Earth, which came through the children that arrived in the last 30 odd years. Interestingly, the time that aura transformation became a thing, and Annie discovered it or felt it and then created the courses, was the same years that I think Gene Keys or Human Design, or one or both or one or the other, came out. So it was like 1987 is when the indigo children first started appearing, the transition kids, and then 94, 96 was when the Annie developed the session and the courses. So you know, I think what's happening here is we're seeing a mass event, and aura transformation is just a slither of this expression. So I think that the whole planet is awakening. We're calling it the Great Awakening. It's been prophesized. The Mayan calendar changed. The astrological calendar changed. You know, from is it Pisces to Aquarius, and then the main calendar ended and began again. And then I remember all waiting at 2012 for like something to happen, you know, like all this sort of things, you know, this aura transformation is part of this grand awakening. And I think what we are seeing is that the whole of humanity is crystallizing. The whole of the planet is crystallizing. The whole of the planet and humanity are becoming more spiritful or more aware. That is not necessarily a pleasant experience. That means that there is more light shining into the dark corners, which is maybe what we've been seeing over the last number of years, where we're just like, we're seeing all the mess and all the power imbalances and all the hierarchies. They're becoming louder and clearer. You know, we can see it, we can't hide from it. So having an aura transformation is about bringing more spirit energy in your body. The crystal children and the indigo crystal children are born with more spirit energy. They're kind of showing us the way. And having an aura transformation is an opportunity for adults that might take 2 lifetimes or an entire lifetime to even try and upgrade their frequency to that level, or to embody that much spirit energy. We're giving them a kind of shortcut to get there. Instead of next life, you can have it this life, and a bit quicker. And it's a bit of a shortcut, okay? And so okay. Is this so much? It's like I'm moving libraries around my head as I try and talk to you. Hang on. Don't want to get carried away. What did I put in that bit? Yes. Yeah. Okay. I did that bit. Okay. So there's this phenomenon that these children arrived and it was different, and people all over the world noticed it, not just Annie Senov. It was like this is like an all over the world thing, and it's not that certain children are more special than others or anything like that. It is literally that something is shifting in our operating system, and the planet, something is shifting with the planet. And people, I mean, I look at my daughter, who is a pure crystal child, and I'm like, when I was her age, I was not like that at all. And I'll explain more actually why that is afterwards. I won't get carried away. So it feels like, imagine trying to, as a grown-up, an adult born before 1987, that imagine you're like a Nokia 360, like an old Nokia brick, the original Nokias, and you're trying to get 5G and open apps, and you can't. You just can't open the apps. You don't have enough frequency, enough memory, enough bandwidth. There's just not enough anything to really operate in the latest frequencies and energies. So it's like hard, and it feels clunky and heavy and too slow, and you have to one word at a time. Everything is clunky slow. And so having the Aura transformation or upgrading the operating system means that you have more capacity to deal with the speed of what is going on. Okay, I think that's enough of that for a minute. So I'm going to actually share. Oh yeah, and if you have questions, please write them on a piece of paper. Don't put them in there because I'm going to lose them. Maybe write them because I'll probably answer them anyway, but in the time being. And then at the end, if there is questions I haven't answered, you can ask me at the end, and I won't lose them in the chat. But I am going to share screen. I'll make it big. Somehow. Is that how you do it? Oh no, hang on, it's that one. Does anyone know how do I get rid of that? Like that. Okay. Right. I want to talk about what an aura is. Oh, not like that. How do I change the page? Oh, there we go. Let me see if I can put me on it. There we go. Okay, so what is an aura is a good starting point for now. An aura is everything that you've ever been, all of your information, all of your traumas, all of your thoughts, all of your feelings, everything you've ever done, everything you've ever pushed out of your system into the field. Even when you're being quiet and you're having a chat to yourself, it's creating some sort of noise. It's really about how you are, everything you've ever been and done. And it includes all of your lineages, all the places you've ever been to. It includes your ancestry, your epigenetic information, your inherited information. It includes like pretty much everything. And when my eyes switched on before oral transformation and I could see people's energy fields, it was quite terrifying, to be honest. It is not, oh, glowy orange, glowy pink. Oh, you have a red aura. It's not like that at all. If you've got eyes to see, you're seeing all sorts of things hanging off people. You can see tears, holes, just, uncomfortable to see. So an aura can get incredibly messy and heavy. And if you don't know how to clear it or how to work with it or how to balance yourself, then it can get really noisy and debilitating. And then I think also our governments, our media, people that use people or that plug into people, energy vampires, narcissists, psychopaths, all of those, governments, everything, they know how to manipulate this old aura. They just know how to plug into it, how to get information into you, how to trigger fear in you. So it's a highly abused system, the old aura, whereas the new aura is very hard to infiltrate. So I'll leave you with that bit for now. And I've got a few pictures, just, you might have seen these before. I think these are Joe Dispenza pictures. I can't really remember. But just the idea is that you can have a huge impact on your aura. And, you can tell when you sit next to someone that's miserable and mean and horrible, you start feeling uncomfortable. If you sit next to someone that's smiley and shiny and lovely and, you feel much better. And, their aura is like emanating. So you can see, some people, if they can work hard to have a bright aura, and then others can damage their aura terribly. And I have to say, if you watch my other video, I talk about how messed up my aura was, and I probably did that to mine. This one, I didn't have an aura left. There were tears. I was being attacked by entities constantly as I woke up magically. It was very debilitating, very uncomfortable. And I have several videos about that stuff, that if you're interested in the more weirdy stuff. This is just another idea, that things can get in, things can infiltrate. Your aura can be, it says damaged, but it can be not like Teflon. It can be, it's easy to get infiltrated if you have any weaknesses in your energy field. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about where it's come from, just because it's a nice story of just explain, I just need to touch on it. Where has it come from? So I think in the early 90s or before, Annie Senov in Denmark was really ill. She was an astrologer and into esoteric stuff and energy work, but she had something I think called asthmatic eczema or something like that, like when really like the skin is flaking off. She looked really old. She felt like she was withering away and disappearing, and there was no protection left. And she knew she had to pull her power back from her life, from people in her life. She had to really make a huge effort to pull herself together. And I think she did manage to heal enough to be well enough, and actually conceived had a child. And when this child was born, she realized that the energy of this, she was a clairvoyant practitioner, so she can see the energy that this child brought with, I think it was with him, was so bright and big energy, and it was just everywhere in the space that she knew there was something different about the children. She noticed in the hospital that all the children were like different than what she'd known her people to be. And she went into this intuitive process with a friend of hers, I think they went into like an altered state trance type of thing. And she knew she had to do something. This energy was like speaking to her, I guess. I can't, it's always not been the clearest of explanations. And the friend held her ankles and anchored her whilst she intuitively dissolved very little of what was left of her aura. And from experience of doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of aura transformations, that most people that are attracted to aura transformation don't have an energy field left. It is literally frazzled off for lots of different reasons: trauma, shock, high frequency children around you, all sorts of reasons. You could be born without much of protection in your aura. If your mother was stressed, that kind of thing. So she managed to dissolve very easily, let go of what was left of this old aura, and this indigo, we know now, indigo energy, this bright energy, kind of magnetized around her body and became a new aura. And this all kind of happened in an intuitive process. I think it was meant to happen. So it happened. It just happened. It unfolded, the process. And then she was walking around her community with her new child, and people were just like, wow, a bit like with me when people saw the shift in me from, you've seen my before and after pictures, maybe there's a big change and you're walking around and people are like stopping and going, whoa, you look really well. And people were like, can you do what you did to do it to me, please? And she had like queues of people wanting to do it. And she just couldn't handle the amount of people wanting to do aura transformations. So she had to create the courses and then start teaching practitioners. And that was like 94, 96, something like that. And that's where it came from. And again, she knew, and that it wasn't just her that was picking this up. This is a worldwide phenomena, that the children were different. I have to do it like this. So I've got slides just to home in what this is. So aura transformation is a one-time energy treatment which increases the frequency in both your body and your energy system to match the energy system of today's young people. They're not children anymore, really. During an aura transformation, your old aura is dissolved, and the resulting upgrade leaves you with a new aura that is perfectly suited to the new energies of today's world. And I have to say that when I had my aura transformation, a lot of the stuff that was plaguing me, or like those entities or noise, just was gone overnight. It was massive change. And because of the nature of the work, the transformational work I do, and the transformational spaces I hold, it is easy for me to become a target, or anyone in my position to become a target to darker energies. So it's important to know how to work with it. And I've always noticed that people with an aura transformation are always a few steps ahead from the darker energies. So it's a lot easier just to sort of escape, but you do have to be a little bit vigilant. But I have a course called Transmute Distortion for that. So this image is going to come up a few times. So on this one, I just want you to look at it as, this is a timeline. This is old aura, this one. This is the indigo aura. This is the crystal aura. And this is the crystal golden aura. And this is traveling through time. So this is like people born before 87 are just about here. And we're going to get to the dates in a second. Hang on, let me get the dates. there. So like 1987 is your, before 87 is old soul aura people. Then we have the transition kids are right in the middle here, in between. Then we have the indigo energies, about 94, 95. Then we have the indigo crystal combination people. And then we have the crystal individuals from 2009, some before, and then 2012 onwards is crystal indigo people born. We're talking about the birth, but what is the aura structure that you're born with, the operating system that you're born with? So people that have an aura transformation are sort of transition children that are between old aura and indigo and before. These people have balancings. Okay, let me just go back. So this is, this is an evolution of operating systems that we can witness in this way. I just want to check my notes that I'm doing the right bits at the right time. Yes. So when you have an aura transformation, we dissolve the old aura. And then when I had my aura transformation in 2013, I spent 6 months at least in the indigo energy as a natural progression. And then I slowly crystallized more into the crystal energy and then eventually crystal golden energy. Most people today go straight to crystal. They don't go through this indigo stage. But I have seen more and more people recently, like the odd person, having more, ending up with an indigo aura for a brief period of time. I'll explain more as we go on. And we call the people in the old aura in the third dimension or below. People in the indigo, we call them the fourth dimensional bridge. They are bridging between the old world and the new world. And they came in the middle and are like shaking things up, showing us that we need to do things differently. They have the hardest time. Indigo young people have had the hardest time because they've come in to say, this world doesn't, I can't fit in this world. Look how much bigger they are. They're like, I can't fit into the world you made, and it doesn't work for me. It doesn't feel good. And so they're kind of paving the way. They started the process for the crystal energy to really take hold. So these are very important, but they get a bad rep and they have a really hard time. So we can actually really help them with balancing and understanding more about their energy and why it's been so hard for them to go to school or to be in modern day institutions. And then the crystal children come along almost like they're the indigos are the let's break the old world, and the crystal children are very calm and cool and collected and peacekeepers. And they're like, well, can't be bothered messing about with the old world. Let's just build the new one. So it's a different focus of energy. And this represents the crystal golden energy. So what I was saying before is that there's more spirit energy entering Earth and humanity and people, and it is linked to being able to embody more Earth energies. There's a beautiful collaboration going on between Venus and Earth, and that is what an aura transformation looks like. It is like bringing heaven and earth together. It's bringing more spirit to matter. But when you have a crystal aura, you can feel a bit serious and structured and like, for a while. And having the golden energy of the earth, the abundant life force energy of earth energy come through you like that, can bring back kind of the joy and pleasures and fun of life. So let's see. So why is aura transformation happening at this time? The Earth's frequency has significantly increased within a very short amount of time. The children of today are born with a new time energy system that has a much higher frequency than that of their parents and other adults around them. Today's adults were born with an old time energy system that is no longer optimal for the times that we live in. So I've said that. Moving into the new time is the next step in Earth's expansion and development into a higher frequency. This is also true for us humans, both in our bodies and our energy fields. And many people feel out of balance today because their old time energy system and personal frequency is no longer in alignment with the energy of their surroundings. So we'll go through some symptoms in a bit about what's happening there. So yeah, not everyone needs an aura transformation. It isn't for everybody. We do need people in the old aura that want to stay there, potentially. And we also, some indigo people will eventually crystallize. Crystallize means your spirit energy crystallizing deeply into the body. And some indigo people will eventually crystallize and go through that process too, and some will stay there. So it's really a very personal journey of really feeling into if this is right for you or not. Yep. Okay, good. And okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit here about, so you've got the higher self, the spirit energy of the old aura is outside of the body. So imagine like a thread with your higher self, and you've been like making little highways and trying to communicate to your spirit energy, and you're like centering and meditating, trying to, feel into what your spirit is saying. And then here, the indigo people, their spirit energy is gathered around their body. So they're born with their spirit energy attached to the body, not on a string above the body, and a much bigger energy field, but it's not in the body. And what happens there is that the indigos are seen as reactive, as rebels, as highly reactive to things. Like their bodies literally go, oh, I don't like this. School doesn't feel right to me, or I can't, I'm not going to do that. They really need convincing to do things they don't want to, because their body is literally reacting to their spirit energy, saying, no, that's not yours. That's not this is a boundary. No. So it is actually like having a giant energetic boundary that's highly reactive, which is useful for learning boundaries, but it's also can be your loggerheads with the world and with people sometimes. Crystal people have the spirit energy deep into the body. They've crystallized. So all that spirit energy that was around the body has absorbed into every cell in the body. So it's tighter, smaller, but it is less reactive. And it's people feeling very balanced and embodied and sovereign, like where your edges are, who you are, you're speaking from your truth, you're really embodied and in your body. So people here often feel very out of body. Here people feel explosive and reactive and creative and wow, and want to change the world. And then here it's a lot more contained and solid and grounded. And then here is the golden energy has then crystallized in the body as well. So these are seen as 1 to 2 to 3rd dimension, 4th dimension, 5th dimension, and beyond. And if we were to look at, so when you have an aura transformation, we are gathering your energy from all the lower dimensions. So often people, I might have to do this with stop sharing my hands. So people, when they are in the old aura, tend to be in lots of different dimensions. That is something you learn as an aura mediator, is how to collect people from all the dimensions that they're in. And if you think dimensions are a bit like a lift, 1st dimension, survival energy, work the land, go in the mines, agriculture, till it's like very physical. There isn't anything else. Then it's mental energies, and then it's emotional energies, and then we go higher. So it's how, if you think about Vietnam and the New Age movement and all that kind of thing, there was a lot of like freedom and no boundaries. That would be 3rd dimensional energy. It's like love with no boundaries. When we go higher into the dimensions, into what aura transformation helps adults have, we have a lot more boundaries to go with the love. And it's not, we're led by fire, passion, and creativity, not by physical work and tilling the land and all that kind of thing. So we're going up dimensions when we have the aura transformation. And what happens is that people have their foot in the 1st dimension, and they have their hands in the 5th or 20th dimension. Like, oh yeah, I'm really spiritual, and I do weird Kundalini activation stuff on a weekend. So you're like reaching your spirit, your hand or your spirit is like reaching far out into the high dimensions, but your body and parts of you are down in the lower dimensions because of family or where you were born or where you live or something. So people are in all these different dimensions. And what we're doing with an aura transformation is gathering them all into the fourth dimension, and then they can crystallize and go above and beyond. So what that feels like, that's quite technical, but what it feels like is that you're not dispersed over many timelines. I had that feeling when my aura was really frazzled and disconnected, and I didn't have any more protection, and I had this kind of magical awakening. I was slipping in and out of timelines all the time, and I would see past lives, and then I'd be like walking I'd see flashes of an ancient time of the place I was in or something. And it was debilitating and a bit scary and not very comfortable. And it also meant that my energy felt more and more dispersed as time went on. It felt like I didn't have enough energy to make things happen in my life. So having the aura transformation, gathering all your energy from all those dimensions into the one place, into this like single focus place, is really powerful to make you feel like you have tons more energy, that you're able to focus your drive, your motivation, your energy into one direction and make things happen in your life. So that's like a real key to the moving from the third dimension and above. So let me just go back. This one. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I think this is just reiterating a bit more, just that the operating system is moving and changing over time, and that this is the contentious part people get upset about. But the old aura has what we call 7 chakras, and then the indigo has 3 chakras, and then the crystal aura has 1 big chakra. I'll explain more in a moment. So people enjoy having an aura transformation because they'll have a lot more protection of the physical body. The crystal energy is like having a brand new skin to live in. So we bring in an aura transformation, we're bringing your spirit energy into your body, and at the end we're integrating a brand new protection crystal aura around you. I know it sounds crazy, but you can feel it happening. People feel it happening in the session, and then you walk away never having to like protect your energy in the same way that you've had to in the past. It's amazing. You can be in direct contact with your consciousness on a daily basis. And you can have a quick and smooth integration of the higher energy frequencies on Earth in your body and consciousness, meaning you will have a faster expansion. You'll be able to keep your own energy to yourself, have stronger intuition and drive, and be in contact with your truth and your passion, aka your Dharma, and find yourself more whole and together with more energy, charisma, and joy. And yep, agree. These numbers are really old now, because even when I trained, we had numbers similar to this, so it must be way more now. But 800 plus aura mediators, 100,000 plus aura transform people. I think we're like 5, sometimes 8. It changes depending on what people are doing, but there are not that many instructors. And what we want to do, it's been really hard to become an instructor in the past. We had to really prove ourselves and really, work for it. And now we're trying to open up the process and have people train, make it easier to train as an aura mediator, but also make it easier to become an instructor. So but that comes like after you've done quite a few aura transformations, and you're ready to hold that kind of energy and you understand it. Yes. So symptoms of needing an aura upgrade. So people often talk about it's hard for me to even remember now because it's like 10 years ago. But when you see my before and after pictures, you can kind of see it. There's irritability, frustration, negative mind chatter, repeating the same behaviors and patterns over and over again, feel like life is happening to someone else, feeling oversensitive to everything, even yourself, like reacting to yourself somehow, a need to self-treat, meditate, exercise, do spiritual practices daily, or you won't feel right or okay to carry on your day. And that is a really big deal, because I've so many people that come for an aura transformation talk about having to do all these lengthy practices. just to be okay. And that to me is like, you have an aura that is frazzled and you're needing to create like a temporary protection every day just to go out in the world. And then you kind of feel overwhelmed and collapsed by the end of the day. And I was like that too. I used to have to manage my energy field all the time, do all this stuff all the time. So I knew something wasn't right. And having an aura transformation, I have never had to do that kind of work again on myself. And I was talking to someone that had their AT a year ago, and they said that they don't meditate. They used to meditate for hours, and now they don't meditate anymore at all. And because you are connected instantly to your own spirit energy and to the source of who you are. So you don't need to create that highway to connect to your higher self like before. People often feel like life is changing at a rapid rate, or that life is happening somehow like life is happening to someone else. It's almost like you're watching yourself, or you're kind of muffled, not feeling like you're really in your own life somehow, or it's just kind of happening. There's that. And a feeling that your consciousness is changing faster than you can keep up with, like the body can't keep up with the amount of frequency upgrades you're going through. So this would kind of like regulate the two. Also, people that have children, it's so amazing for people that have children. Whether you're a grandparent or a parent or a teacher, or you work with children, you get to meet them. You get to be in the same frequency and also have your spirit energy embodied. So you're actually in the room with the children once you've had an aura transformation, rather than them being in the room fully and you half not in the room. and also children just look at the busy old aura like, what are they doing? They're saying one thing, doing another, juggling some other emotion, hiding another emotion, masking and then behaving in a certain way. And the crystal indigo children can see right through that, and they don't get it. They don't get it. So also people do talk about skin issues, like if you have low protection in the energy field, light sensitivity, ringing ears, joint pain, dizziness, fatigue, headaches, sleep difficulties. I think that there are a lot of issue. I'm not, we can't talk about health in that way, but I think a lot of health issues can come from having a frazzled aura, having no protection left in your aura. You can't keep your energy in. There's some sort of coherence and integrity lost in the energy field. So here is my before and after pictures again. This is actually 6 months apart, believe it or not. That is me in the same house. This is I've had an aura transformation, just had an aura transformation like a few weeks before maybe. And then this is before the aura transformation. So it must be about 6 months also in between the two. So for me, that is the most like striking picture, because you can see here when you look at someone that looks like this, it's like they're checked out and they're far away, they're out of their body, traumatized. It's like almost like there's no, like they're see-through somehow, depixelated somehow. And here you can see the spirit shining out of every cell in the body and the eyeballs. There's like a light shining through. There's an embodiment, there's a solidity, and you can see that my whole being is emitting more light, and I think that's more spirit energy in every cell. I've started crystallizing more and more energy in every cell of my body. So it's such a big shift. It's just it's like the best way of explaining it. I think. Oh no, this one. And there's another example. This is longer in between, maybe 5-6 years in between. But yeah, I just felt like I was getting younger and younger. I might be getting older now. Like actually for real. But I can still, I don't feel 42, put it that way. I feel older. I remember feeling really messed up, and like I actually felt like I'd failed my life. All that potential, all that hard work, all that, I was meant to do great things with my life. I was going to be a world leader or something, and I was working with the government and all this stuff. And it felt like I was fading and fading and fading. And a lot of people were really worried about me and thought I wouldn't make it. They were worried about my lifestyle and what people I was around and what I was doing with my life. And I was also worried at this point, And then there is and yes, this is aura transformation, but I have also dedicated my life to healing and healing myself and finding techniques and ways of helping people heal at a fundamental level. And the aura transformation was this kind of catapult of being highly dispersed over many different dimensions and timelines and areas. Like I was spread out somehow, and then suddenly an aura transformation brings in this incredible structure back to the system, back to the body, back to every cell, and it's bringing more light and spirit into every cell. But then, I've really worked hard to understand the healing and that restructuring of the inner self. Like that's the childhood self that was hurt fundamentally. The aura transformation helps you have the energy to heal that stuff. And the other work I do kind of gives you tools and techniques to really help you embody that at a deeper level if you wanted to go that way. But yeah, I did obsess about the stuff that my aura mediator showed me and taught me, and all the tools we learned on the courses. I really went for it. I did everything they told me, and I went over and over, really reclaiming my energy. So if I use my hands, when you're dispersed over all these different timelines, like your energy and the world's energy is like spaghetti. You and people are spaghetti together. You and your environment are spaghetti together. You have no aura structure left or not much left, and it's all like tangled up. Having the aura transformation is like a boom, like a big leap into separating your power and energy from the field and other people. And then over the 9 months to a year and a bit of crystallizing afterwards, you're really reclaiming your power and your energy. That's why I look solid in that picture. And then other people's energy is out of your field. And that's that crystal ball energy that I was showing you of really being in your own power and energy, really understanding who you are and speaking your truth and not deferring your power to relationships or to powers that be or to gurus or to teachers or psychics or whatever. It's really about really deeply knowing yourself and walking your path of your truth. And that is a big shift for humanity. Oh, I just need to plug in. I'm just going to drink water. Okay. And also having the aura transformation, it was like an instant elevating my life in every direction. I remember I said this in the other video, but I laughed myself because I went home from the aura transformation and I was like, whose house is this? It's like full of stuff. It was like a hoarder's house. And I'm just like, oh my God, like what is all this stuff? So it was almost even in it, like the debris, it was almost like my house represented all the debris in my aura that then had been cleared and dissolved. And then I had to start decluttering. And I literally, since then, my life is elevating every year more and more and more and more in so many ways. Back to the pictures. Let me see, is there anything else to say? No, I think that's good. Yeah, so yeah, I guess maybe I'll just undo actually before I go into that bit. Just a little bit about hearing about aura transformation, I guess. I just knew I needed it. Like when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, that's like all the pieces that I haven't been able to do on myself. Because I had burnt the candle at every end possible. I knew that I had to do something. And I did do a lot on my own. I did kind of become a bit of a hermit. I did realize I was like a healing practitioner and I had to train and stuff. I had to really change my lifestyle. But when I heard about aura transformation, it was just a big like, oh my gosh, that's something I really need. Because even though I'd done all this work on myself, I still had really debilitating negative thought patterns, like really mean thought patterns that I was like, this is not nice. Even if I tried to remove them or work with them or train them out of me, they wouldn't shift. I still had a deep rage and anger that I couldn't forgive. I couldn't move past particular strong emotions towards certain situations in my life, even though I did all the proper good spiritual things. I praying and forgiveness and crystal, pray, white flag and waving white flag, all the things. And it was just like this, it would ignite like lightning in my body, just at a trigger like that. So it was like, it was almost like I was powerless to this deeply ingrained trauma, and I didn't have the skill or tools to let it go either. But it was somehow part of my field, because that thing could happen, and it would be like, like you could imagine like road rage or something. Very pink. There was also realizing that I had absolutely no protection in my field. So I could walk past people and I could hear their thoughts and I could feel their energy. Or if I put my hands on people, I would suddenly go home with all their stuff, like my clients' stuff. Or, they weren't my clients, and my friends at this time. But it was like, I'm sure I'm not supposed to be absorbing people's energies. I'm putting hands on. Something's not right. I've definitely blown my protection. So I knew stuff wasn't quite right. And when I heard about aura transformation, I was like, oh my God, this is it. And within a few hours, those negative thought patterns were gone. Like completely gone. And I'd identified them as my like ancestral imprints. So it was like ancestors' traumas repeating very loudly because my protection had weakened. So it was really like I'd become sensitive to it, and it was really loud, and they were gone overnight. And that has happened for hundreds of my clients. But if the thought patterns are still there afterwards, it is possible that it's your own habitual thought. You've created neural pathways that you're going to have to train out of you. But some people are very lucky, and it just kind of lifts off. And also some people's thought patterns are linked to the collective consciousness that's attached to the old aura, which I'll show you in a minute. And sometimes that also goes once you disconnect from the collective consciousness, which we do in the aura transformation. And that can also clear your mind. It was an incredibly eerie few weeks of like, wow, it's so quiet. And lots of people talk about how quiet it is. And then it kind of can get noisier. And then you join like crystal gatherings, or you talk to another aura transformed person, and you'll see that you're mutually balancing each other, and your mind clears and the noise goes again. So it does help to remind yourself that you've had an aura transformation, that you can work with your energy in that way. I remember then as well, about a week after my aura transformation, I was like waving the white flag of peace and forgiveness to these particular group of people. And it was like I was able to, it was like being completely neutral to very difficult energies and emotions. And it was, I couldn't believe it. I'd tried everything. And then suddenly it was like within a week or two, I'd found this deep sense of peace in myself. Like if you're stepping every day into more and more of who your higher self and spirit energy really is, it is much easier to reach these states of, peace and forgiveness and lightness, and not carry boulders put on your shoulders. My daughter noticed within a few days. She was like, wow, you're in the room, Mum. And it was like she was looking at me like, like, huh? And a lot of people will notice that children notice that you haven't. I have to warn people after an aura transformation that children might stare at you, or even adults might stare at you, and they don't know why. But children are like, are you a giant child? They just don't really know how you managed to have a big child's aura. And there was one time actually, a traditional like generational psychic. So she was like she'd been a long line of psychics. And I just walked past this lady, and she looked at me and went, why do you look like a child? She could see that something was off, but it was very unusual. She hadn't seen an aura like it, but she thought I was a kid. So, it made sense that we look like the children of the day. This was years ago. What else happened? Started decluttering. People often send me pictures of all the decluttering and the filing they've done within a few weeks of having their aura transformation. And then the really powerful bit was that feeling of failure, and that I was dispersed, and that I'd messed up, and that I didn't have the energy to make anything happen. That was like suddenly a very different experience. It was almost like this, like that. And then all I could hear was what my spirit knew we had to do. And my dharma kicks in, and my like motivation, drive, and focus. Like I'm not dispersed. I'm not scattered. I'm not losing energy. I'm not having to fight my own aura and everyone else's. And I can just, all I can do is, all that is happening is I'm focusing on what I know is my path and my passion and my mission. And luck for me, it was easy. It was aura transformation. But for other people, it's other things. But it was, a tremendous shift. And within months, like I was trained, had a website. I'd built a business. I'd never even run a business. I had no idea what I was doing, being self-employed and HMRC and all that stuff. I was just like, and building a website and suddenly, putting myself out there and having a flyer and traveling the world, teaching it, talking about it. It was a big deal. And to go from like almost in the gutter and might not survive to that, and to this, it's still like, whoa, even when I look at those old photos, I'm like, oh gosh, I really did descend into the depths and the pits. Yes. Yeah, and you feel like an arrow on fire. That is definitely a feeling of like being unstoppable somehow. And that burden that you can see in my old pictures, really lifted. And that first few months of your aura transformation, we call it like period of grace for starters. Like we don't know how it's going to react for you and what's going to, what's going on in your life. What's the most important thing your spirit's going to decide to do? Is it going to put you to sleep because you're knackered? Or is it going to make you declutter the house or do your filing? Or is it going to make you go and, I don't know, do the split up with someone, move house? I don't know, you just don't know. And you're just like, oh. And so period of grace is like, okay, might be a bit washing machine-y, but it might also, at the same time, you're feeling all the amazing things happening. So yes, there's a bit of a washing machine or putting you on the right path, but there is also all the amazing things happening simultaneously. So you kind of period of grace. You're like, okay, I give myself grace. And some people are like, I don't know who I am anymore. Like, how do I operate here? And what am I doing here? And what's this, So you have to recalibrate and take a moment. And some people just feel incredible. And it is like that dangling carrot, like you're going to feel incredible. Like the best you're going to feel with your spirit in your body and feeling balanced and not irritated by the world and, getting on with your stuff, being really here, really feeling yourself, seeing it. You're like, oh my God, I'm in my body. Having that, so it's like this, like how do I put that? Like like the carrot dangling, like this is how it could feel. Like it's going to feel this amazing, but you do have a little bit of healing work to do and stuff. Oh, no worries. Take care. So you can't cheat your karma and your own life lessons and what you came here to learn. So you will still learn that, but you're going to have more energy to do so and more grounding to do so. So those bits aren't always pleasant, healing rage, healing pain, healing traumas. Finding yourself in the core wound often means collecting the parts of you that were hurt. So there is this amazing thing happening, but there is also what we call an emotional detox or old stuff coming up. So if your spirit energy is descending into the body and creating more light and space in every cell and emitting from every cell, then also it's going to displace anything that is not you and that isn't meant to be in your body anymore. And sometimes we're holding the boulders of our ancestry and we're holding all the energy of our there's past life traumas as well, but the ancestry and the collective and your ex-partner's stuff, and you're carrying all this stuff you don't need to carry. So in the aura transformation, we're dissolving the old aura, which is helping you kind of clear the cache, the cookies, Control Alt Delete all the noise and all the stuff that actually isn't yours, so that you can really work with what's yours. And doing that work can be slightly unpleasant, but also is so rewarding, and you would not regret it once it's passed. And all that stuff's coming up as a final showdown. It's going like you can't cheat it and skip it and just delete it because it's yours. It's your thing. But you're going to have more energy and heart to really feel it. And talking about heart, when you come into your aura transformation, that first 6 months or something, for me, I could feel my heart energy just expand and expand and expand and expand. And I was like, oh my God, how much is it going to go? It's a pretty trippy experience of feeling. My heart was probably locked away in a little Swiss cupboard somewhere. And then now it's like massive. And it's a lot to take in, but it's people respond to you completely differently when you're in your heart energy like that. Okay. Oh my God, what time is it? Oh, it takes longer than I wish, but it's just the way it is. Okay. So this is the old aura, very briefly. I go into this. How do I go back? Oh. So just briefly, this old aura, we dissolve it in the aura transformation. And for most people, it's very easy to dissolve because there's nothing left of it. So this is the protective layer around the body. This is what kind of keeps you put together and makes you have like almost like an immune defense, defense system to other energies coming in. And most people's are frazzled: drugs, alcohol, shock, trauma, accidents, young children, trying to raise your frequency. So it kind of frazzled. The astral body is that thing I told you that can get easily plugged into. So this is how your ancestral energies are plugged in. How your lineages are plugged in, how entities plug in, how media and government go, oh, we'll just push and pull that, how thought forms impact you, all through the astral body of the aura. It's that like perforated edge there. It's almost, I call it the universal plug socket. Anything can kind of plug in, and that's what it's hard work to manage, or to you could spend forever doing healing workshops and clear this bit and clear that bit and clear this bit, and then you go around and you find more as you go around. And I think that the old aura is like 26,000 years old, and it probably was very efficient and great operating system back then, but now it doesn't work as well, and it's not functioning in the way we need it to. It also has these 7 chakra points which will merge in the as you crystallize and in the aura transformation. And I suppose a way of looking at this is that the upgrade I've done to Annie's Senov's work is that, yes, I think we still have our chakra system in the body. So with the kinesiology work I do and working with the nervous system and the endocrine system and the core wounding and like just having a physical body, we do have, I think they're called plexi. So your nervous system and endocrine system and spine, they link up in like these networks within the physical body. So you do have a throat energy center that is linked to your nervous system and your endocrine system, and then the same with the heart and the adrenals and etc. So I think we still have the energy centers in the body, which people are, some people are adamant that they can still see our energy centers after aura transformation. I think it's true that you can work with them in the body, but the difference with the aura transformation and the crystal energy is that you have the one heart chakra. They have merged into one. So the energy field, the energy centers projecting into the aura are simplified. So it's a lot easier to juggle. Whereas in the old aura, you're constantly juggling this one, and this one, and that one turns off, and then that one's on, and then you've over amplified this one, so that one turns off again, and then you're like, oh God, and then you're anxious, and this one's throwing you off. And it's just, I've never met anyone with a perfect energy center, chakra center thing ever. So I was really struggling keeping mine in check. And also here is the lower mental layer, and that is connected to the collective consciousness, which I'll show you shortly. So in the aura transformation, we are literally dissolving all of these layers and all of that information that you don't need, that is not your spirit, it's not your highest self, and it disperses you, and it's a lot to manage, and it's hard to get to your core wound healing for yourself because you're constantly managing all the stuff in this energy field. Also, yeah, so it's like the Control Alt Delete that I was talking about. And yeah, I think that'll do for that. And this is like the before. This is when you're in the old aura. So you've got your ancestral patterns: feeling irritable, oversensitive, indecisive, mental chatter, karma, procrastination, confusion, all that stuff I've sort of described. And here is what happens when you move into the new time energies, or if you were born a new time person, or if you have an aura transformation, you're more feeling empowered, like speaking from the heart, feeling what brings you passion and drive and fire, much clearer vision, much easier to speak your truth, much easier to access your joy, find your purpose, be more present, easier to prioritize, boundaries, much stronger boundaries. Oh yeah, this is just to tell you that these people are 35 years and older. These people are 27 years and older. These are 18, about 18, and then these are 13. And a little bit about, let me just see. So there's one thing here about having an aura transformation. This is just a side, really. You have an aura transformation, and then you move through either very quickly or not at all into the indigo, into the crystal. And this is like basically having a very strong boundary. And if you've never had many boundaries or no protection, then you don't actually know where your boundaries are. Like, you have to learn them as much as all the people around you. So there is that can be quite fun, the first few months of figuring out that you have boundaries, and your voice will go, no, I don't want to do that, or no, you can't do that, or no, that's not right for me. So, and for some people, that's why they end up in the indigo phase first, because they have to learn what they like and don't like, or what they are and not are, or what they need aversion therapy. They need their spirit energy reacting for them until they learn what is a yes and what is a no, and what is truth and what is not truth. And here it's a lot easier to manage. So the indigo aura, that, as I've already mentioned, is the spirit energy wrapped around the body, and they have 3 energy centers. So in an aura transformation, we don't decide how many energy centers you're going to have. You're going to leave with the ones you need and that have merged in the energy field. So people feel them merge. Some people have a mild headache, but it's very rare, like a 5% or something. And it's not for long. It's just in the session. They'll feel like a pressure on the head or on the chest. So you can actually feel it happening. And yeah, these people are seen very creative, very bright, and you can tell an indigo person. And if they transition between old aura and indigo, they have 1 foot in each world. That's tough, but you can we have to decide on a case-by-case basis whether they're going to have a full aura transformation or if they're going to only need a balancing. And you can tell because when you describe the old aura to them, they're like, oh yeah, I do have all of that stuff, or I picked that up off my parents, or I have all, they will feel it, and you will sense it too, if they need a full aura transformation or if they need a balancing only because they're more indigo. And here, one big heart chakra, basically, if you want to see it that way, is the heart chakra. All those chakras have merged into one big heart chakra. And you've got this balanced body. And what's beautiful about the crystals in the new aura is that it's a very love intelligent, balanced energy. Like, your whole field starts to feel more structured and clear and crystal clear. And the reason why that is so beautiful is that it's very balanced in the elements, the fire, earth, water, air, and in the masculine and the feminine. It's a very balanced, love intelligent energy that matches earth energy, which is why we end up with this beautiful Venus crystallization of the aura with the earth energy integrated within the body. It is like this amazing match of energies that are equal. Like, Earth is very balanced in the elements. It has all the elements. Some planet energies don't have all the elements. So Earth has all the elements, and the masculine, feminine integrated, and so does the Venus energy. So it's this beautiful collaboration, like heaven on earth, of really being in your body, making things happen. And when you're in your body, you can really make things happen in the material world. If you've been out of body and disconnected, it's very hard to make things happen in your life, like make your business work or have an idea and take it into action. Like, I struggled with that massively, and then suddenly I was like bang bang bang, I couldn't stop making things happen because I was connected to the physical plane. Okay, so this is very brief, just to show you that the lower mental layer, the thing that looked like a halo, is connected to the collective conscious, is what connects you mentally to the collective consciousness. So the collective consciousness is very loud in your head, partly those like loud mental chatter, people feeling very full, kind of feeling swampy, being like really feeling the collective, everyone being kind of entrenched into the emotions and feelings and thoughts of that. So in the old aura, you're connected to the collective consciousness that way. In the indigo aura, you're connected to the collective consciousness via the spirit and the body. That's where that really deep. So the person is feeling their spirit react to the collective. Ooh, that's not for me. I like this. I don't like that. I can't do this. I will do that. That kind of loving something and hating something. And that's how, they're reacting to the collective consciousness. Whereas the crystal aura is disengaged. During the aura transformation, we disconnect you or disconnect the lower mental layer from the collective consciousness, which is a humongous relief. It means that you are more in your own energy. You can hear your own thoughts. You can hear your own spirit. You can stand in your own power, and you're not pushed and pulled or attacked physically or mentally by the collective consciousness. I can tell you now, people are like, well, but I love the collective consciousness. But I'm like, well, you can still look at it and engage with it, but you don't have to wear it and react to it all day. Yeah, it's a real pleasure to be disconnected from it. This, very simply put, is that this looks like a terrible thing, and it's not at all. What I see this as is that some people that don't need an aura transformation or don't want an aura transformation, they will never quite see the full size of someone that is in the crystal or indigo aura. But that is the same as being in a relationship with someone that has different hobbies to you, or that never really understood your spiritual side or something. So it's not bad. It doesn't make you incompatible. Love is love. Spirit and love, spirit to spirit love, can happen with or without an aura transformation. And, it's not going to make you leave your partner that you love. You know what I mean? And it's just going to mean that there's a little part of them or a part of you that is like maybe private, or that just doesn't get seen in that way. But there will be other people in your life that will see those bits, or other aura transform people or crystal people or whatever. And then there's this beautiful feeling of energy balancing. So the new aura, the crystal aura, it's like a self-regulating, self-balancing fountain. You constantly are regenerating and regulating yourself. And when two crystal people are in the same room, they're doing that with each other. They're like copying each other. And it just feels really lovely. So that's why every month for about 5 years, I've been doing crystal gatherings where we come together and we talk a bit and see what's going on. I feed back information and energy, and then we do some like energy balancing at the end together. Like we close our eyes and we move energy in our bodies to, align, reconnect, feel more balanced. Having an aura transformation is, one way of looking at it is like having 20 years of self-development in a very short period of time. But this is saying that you can't cheat. You're still going to learn the same stuff that is your stuff to learn. It's not like erasing your karma and your blockages. It's like it's a rapid shift, but it is also clearing through a lot of the stuff you don't need to be working with. It's not really yours to hold in that way. I don't think we need to do that today. Benefits: daily clarity, protection, much better overview of your life. You feel a lot less bothered by stuff that you used to get triggered by. Your intuition drive starts to cooperate, resulting in more energy, ability to prioritize and focus on what you choose to be involved with, self-confidence and inner peace, less troubled by challenges coming from your surroundings, increased inner joy, expanded awareness and discernment of others' agendas, easier openness with others without being on guard, convey a more clear feeling for your personal standpoint in life. Like it's easier to just know what your opinion is, I guess. Improved ability to enjoy living in the present and rapidly manifest the reality you always wish for. It does not solve and fix and erase all your problems. It is not for people that want saving from a mess they're in. It is going to give you more energy and grounding so you can find new solutions, but it's not going to, erase your problems all overnight. It's giving you an ability to deal with them in a new, different way. So just briefly, in an aura transformation, we're dissolving the old aura. Sorry, that's the second part. We start with the healing phase, which is the first hour or so. And in that, we're really looking at your existing energy field and what you've got around you. And we're really, the crystal energy is moving through your body. People feel that kind of tingling up the legs. It's quite a special feeling. And that crystal energy is going to lift up anything that needs to be seen or felt or transmuted and loved. And often it's things that you thought you've already dealt with a long time ago. You're like, oh, wow, that's still there. It's almost like it can get to the deep scars in our field or in our bodies and help them lift and heal. It's also helping you really claim your energy, and your spirit and your power, like really pull your energy into yourself and also help you make space around you from energy that is not yours, including ancestral stuff you've inherited, stuff that's lurking in the, the fabric of who you are. And then when you're full of your own energy, we then dissolve the old aura. And that, as I said, is very simple. It's often like blowing a leaf off a table, and very easy to do, but we're dissolving the etheric, astral, lower mental layer. And that's when something really powerful happens, which is there is no more barrier between you and your spirit energy. So your spirit, your higher self, starts to come into the body. And it is unique. Every single moment I've had with a person to help them embody their spirit energy is unique to them. Like the flavor, the feel, the texture, the pattern of energy, you can really feel it come in. And it is like everyone's spirit is like a fingerprint, it's like unique to you. And you learn so much. I get to, it's such a privilege, it's an incredible honor to be there in those moments. It's like the room is filled with your spirit and peace and like just amazing information. And it's a moment as well where for the next, we call it expanding consciousness phase, you're going to be expanding more and more with your own consciousness and gifts and spirit and energy that you've not been able to connect to probably for 26,000 years or something. But it's basically more and more of everything that makes you who you are, that you might have not had access to, is coming into the body. We call it packets coming in. They don't all open immediately, but there's a lot of information that you get to expand and gather, and it will open as, in time. Like stuff for me is opening now that, didn't open 10 years ago because I wasn't ready for it, or it wasn't the right time. So then the expanding consciousness phase is kind of blissful. People were just kind of sat and like all of this beautiful energy coming in that is you. And then at the end, we integrate the new aura, the balance body. And that happens very quickly. It's pleasant. It doesn't hurt. None of this hurts at all. And then we make sure you're really grounded and we let you go. And then you come back for your balancing. And the balancing is really important because it's helping you, and it's full of tools and techniques and ways for you to work with your own energy. But we're checking, you come back a few days later and we're checking, how have you settled in? Have you landed in your body? Have you, are you trying to escape again like you used to? Or, what's going on? It'll present a lot of your habitual patterns and behaviors and thoughts kind of thing. And then we help you really ground and balance and make sure it's all settled. And then we explain and work through your fire, water, earth, and air and how to balance them. And you get so much information about who you are, what's going on in your life, what are your next steps. It's learning a communication tool with your own body and your own consciousness so that you can know what to do with yourself when you don't feel right, for example, or if you want deeper information about yourself. We also go through a magical process of integrating your masculine and feminine energies, which is a really tangible experience of feeling like your spirit, I don't know, it's a feeling, I call it cellular self-love. It's like feeling self-love at a very deep level in the body, and it feels like a tingling and activation all over the body. And then we let you go because it's the nicest feeling to end with that. And you can have future balancings, and we can go through your elements again and go through what's going on in your life, go through the masculine and feminine. But sometimes if I go for a balancing now, I use it to like reality test different realities that I'm wanting to, like, should I go down this path or that path? Or if I have a big chunky bit of healing work I want to do, I'll ask for someone to do balancing on me. So you can freestyle your balancings as well. But they are worth having. I probably had quite a few in my first year, partly because I was training as well. But I would recommend keeping up with those at least once a year, like an MOT. That's like where you check your car once a year, an MOT in the UK. The crystallization process then carries on for 9 months to a year, and you kind of have an inner crystallization of your elements and an outer crystallization in your life. So it's almost like you have to learn how to balance your fire, your water, your earth, and your air in your body. And then you're going to learn how to operate with your fire, earth, and air in your life, not all in like a linear order, but it's almost like your crystallizing is really learning to be grounded, solid, and balanced in your body. And that's an amazing feeling as well. So this used to be the book people used to have to read. Now you can watch the videos, watch one of the videos, or read the PDF. And there's other books too. Oh yeah, I'm going to talk about that in a second. But there's these other books too. That if you were to train as an aura mediator, you'd want to be reading. These are not essential reading to people that just have an aura transformation, but I was hungry to read everything. But the Golden Age, Golden Earth book is the latest book that she wrote. And it is really all about the golden energy of the earth and the crystallization process, but also it is like personality profiling by looking at different planet energies, but it's not like traditional astrology. It's a bit different. It's very interesting. I really enjoy that one. And then These Crystal Human Part 1 and Part 2 is about lots of case studies of people crystallizing after their aura transformation. The Get Your Power Back Now and the Little Energy Guide are also really useful for young adults or parents of young adults and children. And it's just helpful for adults too. It's just lots of little tips and guides to how to work with your energy and stay balanced. And it's useful for your journey. And I'm just going to quickly talk about the Aura Media courses. So I'm running one in September in the UK, but then one in Kansas. And I think there's already 4 people that have signed up for that. And I can only take 2 more people. And there's no one really, there might be one other Aura Media instructor that does training in America, but it's rare and it's not often. And I don't know when I'll next be there. So if you're in America and you want to train as an aura mediator, it's an incredible opportunity because you'll be the only one in your village, probably. There'll be 4 in Kansas, but they'll, in other places, it's really an amazing way of working with people. Not only does it expand you and, your self-development it's a huge step in your own self-development. When you first have the aura mediator, when you come to the aura mediator course, you have a one-to-one session with the instructor. And it's like a aura transformation times 10. We call it a grounding session. And it's really you disconnecting from the collective consciousness, really coming into your own platform of consciousness where you belong, where your power, energy, and wisdom comes from. And it's setting up your energy field to be a holder of the Venus energy, so that it comes with this beautiful, I think, responsibility that you want to step into being like a guardian or a holder of the Venus energy for planet Earth and for humanity. And it's kept me on the straight and narrow because I've taken it, for me, it was almost like taking a vow of respect to the Venus energy and what it brings people and what it did for me. So it is an incredible opportunity to train in it. Some people don't go off and do loads of aura transformations, and they do it for the personal development aspect. And then, so you have that one-to-one session at the beginning, which is a huge personal activation and growth point for you. And then we do like the theory and actually have quite a few people come for their aura transformation on the course. And you're going to aura transform at least 3 people each in pairs. You're not left on your own. And then I'm running around going to each room and helping you, put it into practice. And the point is that your aura after that one-to-one session is ready to start aura transforming people. So it's not based on a level of skill or previous experience or anything like that. You don't have to know anything special to be able to do aura transformations. So don't feel like you need to be, I don't know, spiritual or already a healer. Not necessarily. If you feel called to it, do talk to me. I'm going to send you all an email with this video and with application forms to become an aura mediator. And it's first come, first served. So there's already a few people. And what I do is you will each have a phone call, chat, Zoom thing with me, like an interview kind of thing. And we'll just check it's definitely the right thing for you and it's the right time for you and that you're a good fit for the group. And then that's you onboarded, and there'll be deposits and that kind of thing to do, just because I then have to buy flights. So I need to make sure I've got enough people coming and all that kind of thing. So I want people to apply ASAP so that I know and we can plan properly for the whole thing to happen. And there's already, so at the moment, there's only 2 spots left. If one of my colleagues comes to help me, we can do 8 people. She'd be training as an instructor. She's an aura mediator. So if that's the case, if more people sign up, then I'll bring someone in to help me because I can't run around all the rooms on my own like that. So that's for the American one. And so that's in Kansas in June. I can't remember the date, it's like the end of June, and I'll put that in email. And then the one in September is the second week of September, I think is what I'm thinking. And it will be either here or somewhere in England. Here is easy for me because I have set the place up for this sort of thing. I've got a cabin that we can use as a treatment space. There's a banquet table here for people to sit around. And again, that would be 6 people. And I know that there's at least 3 that have already signed up for that. So it is very limited at the moment. If the demand is there and there's more people that sign up to become Aura mediators, then I'll run more courses. But at this point, that's what it is. And also I urge people that train with me as an Aura mediator, no obligation, but I do think it's important that you do the visibility gateway and love again, because the visibility gateway is all the practical business and marketing and grounding into actually running a practice and making it happen for yourself and getting clients in and communicating it effectively and getting on video and all that kind of thing. And also the love again, so many people have told me that that was the key to their visibility journey, but also to being a really incredible practitioner, because you doing all that inner work and that core wound healing makes you a very good practitioner. It makes you the safest person in the room to be able to hold space for people through difficult or emotional stuff. We go through forgiveness, we go through grief, we go through inner child, reparenting. It's got some of the, I've tried to boil down what is that healing moment, that transformational moment where something ignites or something transforms, or you find that wholeness or something comes home. So it's very powerful course, and it helps you become a really great Aura mediator. It's not necessary, but I recommend it. Let me check. I just totally ignored all my notes now, so I've lost the thread on that. I don't think there was anything else. Let me check. Let's just see. Anything else? Okay, if you want to train as an Aura mediator, there's reading to do before the course, some of those books, but I'll tell you, obviously. And you also will bring you'll bring 2 clients to the course each. That is like really essential part. That is you learning to communicate with people. You're going to learn to talk about Aura transformation with people that way, even like it's throwing you in the deep end a little bit. It's just, and it also means that you're talking to your community about what you're about to train and what you're going to do, so that when you come back from the course, you'll already have people lined up probably, and you can make your money back quickly. And I know that some people already have a huge waiting list, even though one in America, one in the States, that have told so many people already that they've got huge waiting lists for the minute that they've trained, they're going to have, clients. Right, books. So I'll just quickly go through these and then we'll actually talk to real people. So these are just some testimonials. I have so many testimonials. These are very little snippets. I had felt like a part of me was missing, as if I was incomplete in some way. I'd always sensed that I had a higher purpose, yet something like an invisible barrier had held me back. I'm happier and more content than I've ever been. I feel like I've grown into myself and my skin fits at last. I've connected with my creative self and I'm acutely tuned to my instincts, which has resulted in me connecting with others at a much deeper level. I'm present totally. I can sense what is going on for someone that they haven't even shared with me. And Jane was my first ever transformation in my Aura Mediator course myself. And she still comes to my crystal gatherings 10 years later and enjoys, working with the energy still. I feel so light and glowing. My vibration has lifted so much and everything is easier with my kids. Wow. The love is flowing. Even being around my extended family has become way less triggering. Cindy says, to say I feel connected is an understatement. I feel that I simply am. I used to meditate for up to 2 hours at a time, and now I reach the feeling of connectedness almost instantly. So no need for long sessions. I feel as if I'm looking at everything with new eyes. And lots of people talk about HD vision after their Aura transformation. Aura transformation has had an immediate effect of expanding my consciousness. Everything seemed more close up yet transparent. Long term, I'm experiencing constant synchronicities. There is no turning back. Great. And then this is, I run these, I just said before, but if you find, it'll be in the email I send you, Crystal Gatherings Online, a link to that. If you are Aura Transformed, you can join that. It doesn't matter if I did it or not, but it's a really useful monthly reminders of all the different work we can do, and just hanging out with other Aura Transformed people is always nice. And I do have kinesiology work, which we don't need to go into now, but I do, if you're not, so Aura transformation is not for everyone. If you're dependent on drugs and alcohol, if you're on antidepressants, if you can't cope with emotions or change or something like that, if you don't have the skills or tools to kind of hold yourself through some kind of transformation, it's gentle, but if you can't deal with that stuff, it's not for you. It's not a good idea. So when we train aura mediators, a big part of the training is really knowing who it's for and who it's not for, who we allow and who we don't allow. And that is just to keep people safe and to keep the aura mediator safe too. There's nothing worse than aura transforming someone that isn't ready for it or that is too much for. So, people sign a waiver, it just says you've done some research, you understand it, no one's forcing you to have an aura transformation, we can't guarantee results or in what direction it will go, and that you're not on antidepressants, that you haven't had a psychotic episode in the last, I think it's a year or something like that, and not dependent on drugs and alcohol and something else like that. So it's just, not for everyone. So we make sure that we talk. I talk to everyone that I'm going to aura transform, just to make sure it is right and that we can get the logistics set up and that it's the right thing for them, because people lie. People go, I'm fine, I'm great, and I know this is the right thing, and then they turn up and you're like, oh no. And that happened to me once, and she'd come so far that I felt I should do it, and it was not good for her. It was a learning curve for me. So yeah, really important to aura transform the people that you're really ready for it. You feel resourced enough to do it. It's not for people that are in the pits of despair and that want someone to save them and help them now. That if there's rush, then it's probably not the right time. If you're like desperate for it, it's probably not the right time. The reason why we say about antidepressants is that if you're taking antidepressants, it's likely that you felt overwhelmed by certain emotions or feeling states, and you couldn't find the way through yourself with your own spirit, will, or courage somehow. You didn't have the tools or skills to deal with that level of stuff, and then you become dependent on that. And then when you come off them, you're going to have lots of stuff surfacing anyway. So imagine you're having all that stuff surface, and you don't have the tools or the ways to deal with it. So you need to come off, if you want to, you have to with your doctor's consent, come off your antidepressants very slowly and as they suggest, and then have, I think it's like 6 months or a year off of them completely before you have an aura transformation. It's just too much otherwise. If you couldn't deal with it and had to take antidepressants, then you're probably not going to be able to deal with all that emotional detox, which is not horrible, by the way. It's just you can't be afraid of it. You have to have some sort of practice or counseling or something that will help you through that process. Okay. But it's for people that are ready to take full responsibility for their lives, that want to grow, that, for some people it's like the cherry on the top because they've done loads of healing work. For other people, it's like massive leaps on their journey of self-development. For me, it was a humongous leap. And I'm so grateful for it and absolutely love this journey. I think that was like everything that I wanted to say. So I'm just wondering who is here that would, I think that, is Lulu here? Because she's an aura mediator and has been an aura mediator longer than me. I don't know where you are.
I'm here. I can talk.
I don't know do you want to be seen or not seen, or just a voice?
I can be seen. I don't mind.
I don't know how to do it. Hang on, I have to find you. I don't know where you are.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. Hang on, I've got it. Add spotlight, I think. Yeah, there we go. Hi.
Okay. Hi. I'm just going to minimize something. So I'm Lulu. I'm an aura mediator in Brighton, UK. And yeah, as Sarah said, I have been aura mediator. I had an aura transformation in December 2012, so really long time ago. and I'm working with it as an aura mediator, and I can still remember why I had it. Basically, my life was kind of ticking along. There was nothing drastic going along. I'd been in spiritual groups doing meditation and working as an energy healer and a massage practitioner for years. So things were, I was not in a disastrous state, although in some sense, I realized afterwards that I really needed it. I'd been working as an energy healer, and I'd been like doing all this spiritual work, and slowly, I noticed that I had becoming so oversensitive that I thought it was great because I thought, oh, I'm a really great healer because I could literally read people's thoughts and emotions and their life story and going in all different dimensions and all this kind of stuff. And it happened slowly over the years that I realized, well, I didn't realize till after the aura transformation that I had become so busy in these realms and so sensitive that actually I wasn't really functioning in my life very well. I would literally feel my neighbor driving across the town, and I could feel her mood and her trouble. So I was, and with working with people, and I thought, oh, it's really great, it's useful. I'm really great healer, you know. I can feel these things, but I was spending hours every day avoiding people, crossing the road from people who were having strange energy, because I literally felt it like a punch in the stomach from some people. And I wasn't, I was literally was not functioning very well. But on another level, I was really quite happy with what I was doing. And I'd also was kind of walking around in my life, and something was feeling like it was the end of a phase of my life. I felt like that I'd reached the end of something, not in a disastrous way, but just like I'm growing and I'm expanding. And I actually felt like I'm too big for my body. I remember sitting in my house and feeling claustrophobic, like I'm too big for my house. Then I had this strange heart sensations, which were kind of this feeling of massive expansion, but it was really itchy. It was like very strange. Like there was some level of huge expansion going on, and I felt like I needed something new. And I actually felt claustrophobic in my body, like Alice in Wonderland, you know, when she's really big.
And so many people, I think so many people, and now that you say that, then, and today I talked to someone, if you go, I've done all this training and this, that, and the other, but I know there's something else, and then suddenly you'll hear about oral transformation.
Yeah, exactly what happened. So basically I was ticking along, but not functioning that well. I had to do hours, and I was oversensitive. I was getting migraines. I was having to avoid people and clear my energy all the time. And oops, sorry, I'm just trying to change something. What was I saying? Yeah, and then I decided that I was too big for my house. I wanted to move. All these things were going on in my head, and I was literally walking around the street saying, my life is ending. I need a new life. And I was kind of going, what on earth does this mean? And then I heard AuraTransformation, and I was like, oh my God, that's a terrible name. I work in the sphere. This is like, even me who's is an energy healer and all these practices, I was like, oh my God, that's a terrible name. But the moment I heard it, I said, don't like the name, but I need to do that. I'm going to do it.
Same.
And many people that I've met, they, as an aura mediator, they just get pulled towards it. Yeah, they just hear it, and it's like an immediate, yes, I'm going to do that. And I think mostly my experience is that people who are drawn to it really need it, because they've actually literally, in my case, I'd frazzled my aura from all my spiritual practices. That was my understanding afterwards of what has gone on, is that I actually had no protection whatsoever. And I was going in all these different dimensions and levels, but my action ability and my day-to-day life was just difficult, because I was just trying to clear other people's energy the whole time, basically. So yeah, I heard it, and then I waited because I was moving house and doing stuff, and then I went and had my aura transformation, and it was instant afterwards that I felt this kind of, for months afterwards. I think you talked about the kind of grace period. I
Mm,
felt this massive amount of peace and love,
mm,
self-love, and quieter mind, and it was like a huge expansion. For me, it was very dramatic expansion of consciousness, and I started to see things that, even though I was quite clairvoyant, I started to become much more aware of things that I couldn't see before. So all the spiritual groups I was in, I was like,
oh,
not sure about that one. And all the things that I was really loving was just like, oh, I can see there's undercurrents and there's things going on.
can I
And
just say one thing there, that what a way of describing that is when you come out of the old aura and old aura energy healing practices
mm,
and out of the collective consciousness, it's literally like being lifted out of a swamp,
yeah,
kind of. I mean, it's not that people are bad or wrong, it's just messy and you're all in this field together and energies are all like this, and then suddenly you're
yeah,
like, woo,
yeah.
like get me off. I don't want to. I don't want it. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it was really a lot. I realized I was in a lot of groups where it was, I mean, we talk about the old energy, the old aura is in the water element, and the new is more fiery. And I was aware of a lot of the, without dissing it too much, of the spiritual groups I was in this kind of very enmeshed, watery energy. And oh, my love, let
Mm,
me, and it wasn't really real, and there was lots of undercurrents going on that became, that I became very aware of, and I think my boundaries, it was almost like I could see the things that I couldn't see before, and all these kind of agendas and conditioning, like
mm,
spiritual conditioning, was like, oh, that's not me. And I was so attached to it. That's like, that's not me. I don't want to be part of that anymore. And
mm,
I became more and more and more earthed and grounded.
mm,
I mean, that was my journey because I'd gone on very far on the spiritual path.
mm.
And but yeah,
I mean, everyone's is a very different journey. That's the thing. It's
yeah,
quite hard. I mean, there is, you can I can generalize today about, I've done hundreds and this kind of happens and this kind of happens, but it's very
yeah,
different for everyone. It
yeah,
really depends on what your truth is, what your frequency is, where you're meant to be, what your spirit wants for you,
yeah,
how long it takes you to connect to the source of your own power. Because for some
yeah,
people, the crystallization process takes forever. Like some people I know that are not spiritual and didn't really, they just had it because they knew, but they didn't pay any attention. They didn't do anything we asked. And it took them maybe like 2 years and you didn't really know if it was working. And then suddenly you look at them and you're like, whoa, really clear, retired early, made
yeah.
some new lifestyle choices. And you just, yeah. So
Mm.
it's so different for everyone, wherever they are. I don't know if there's other people that might want to talk too, but is there anything else you want to add about?
Um, just I think, no, that's about it really. I think if you're drawn to it, usually it's right for you.
Yeah, and Lulu is in Brighton on the
Yeah,
other end of the country. I'm in Edinburgh, and I know that there's a few other aura mediators in the room. I don't know if Tamsin wants to try and talk because you had a classic, like one of those textbook perfect aura transformations that Tamsin came in like, what am I doing with life? What is this life? And then left going like, wow. I don't know if the internet, if you want to, I'll try and unpin. So I mean, I already know as well, we're already 2 hours in and I can't believe it because I was like, I'm going to do my bit in an hour and it's just impossible with all that stuff. I don't know. That remove spotlight. I don't know if you're going to be a voice. Oh, there you are. Add spotlight. Hi. Oh, you're muted. You're mute. Can't hear you. Wait, no, stop talking. I can't hear you. Can you try again to unmute yourself? Maybe you keep. No, you're actually silent. Oh no. I don't know if maybe your keyboard is muted, or what other things normally happen? Okay, I'll let you investigate. Is anyone else that said they would like to talk a little bit about their aura transformation, maybe? Tamsin trained as an aura mediator last year, I think it is. Deborah, I don't think I aura transformed you, did I? Or someone else did it? Did you want to say something? I can just thumbs up. Yes, no, Deborah. Yeah, if you want to. I mean, I don't. Either I can't remember who you are, or I've never met you before. Where are you?
Hi. Yeah, I haven't met you. I was recommended your things through a friend. But and I haven't done a
Oh, you haven't?
mediation or anything, no. But since I did your last workshop and something, I don't know, something is really resonating with aura transformation, just even hearing the words and aura mediator, it just from the last course, um I've just been really intrigued, and now hearing stuff and hearing what Lulu had to say, I yeah, it's kind of blowing my mind because the things that are happening in my world to what has maybe happened in your world in different ways but similar. Yeah, I'm just there's something about this that you offer that really appeals to me, I think, and I don't quite know why.
Yeah, well, that's often the case, and so I tried my very hardest over the years to talk about aura transformation is as normal a way as possible. I don't really want to talk about crystal and indigo children and stuff, but I kind of do if I want to get the theory bit out there. But in the way that I've written about it on social media is that I've attracted like truck drivers and engineers and like teachers and care workers and nurses and like just normal people that aren't necessarily spiritual. I have more non-spiritual people and just no and they are also attracted to it and they don't know why. They're like, how come I'm being pulled to this? It makes no sense to me. So yes, and that's a totally normal experience. But thank you for sharing. It's nice to know as well that you felt something. And is it Access You in the Light that you did?
It's oh what the oh, I can't remember what it was now. It was the week-long thing with
Courageous Spirit, the
yes,
Courageous Spirit activation.
yes.
So
So I
you're
did that.
so you're more likely to be like a practitioner, maybe. But you
Yeah, so I am a Reiki master, and I am the things that Lulu was saying about connecting and seeing into people's like almost looking in people's eyes and seeing how they need healing as you're just walking down the street, and I'm like, what is going on?
yeah.
Um,
So
and
there is, and now I know why you've come and talked to us, because there is a slight other thing that I ask people before they have an aura transformation. And that is, I ask, are you on antidepressants and all that stuff? And then I ask,
mm,
do you teach or make a living from Reiki or old aura energy methodology? Because if you're making a living from it, then I would say it's probably not a good idea because you won't be able to do Reiki anymore. But you can still do energy healing, but it won't be in the same way because Reiki is an old aura energy healing practice for old auras. So we need people that are doing it, and it's a brilliant thing. And I'm not dissing
mm,
it in any way, but it is going to be your energy is going to move for your body in a very different way. You're not going to open yourself up to the universal whatever's to do whatever to other people because that's kind of weird in the crystal, or it feels alien to do that. So if you are like a lot of people that do Reiki, they are like, I think I'm done with Reiki. I don't use it that much anymore. Maybe there's another thing. And then you hear about aura transformation. So then that's fine. That's not a problem. But some people have got a career in attuning people. And then I'd be like, listen, you'd have to really adapt what you're doing. You could call it something else. I know that there's one person that called it new time Reiki, which I'm kind of like, but people understand what that means. You know, so it's just like your practice will upgrade, the way of working will upgrade, your clairvoyancy, your psychic abilities will upgrade as you learn how to see from this new land and this new perspective. But for me, it feels like it would be really amazing to really ground you into your energy, into your body, and not have to deal with all that stuff in the environment. But
Yeah, maybe that's my path, and maybe that is how it's going to be, and I'm open. So thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. Who else would like to speak? So Lulu's just saying she was a Reiki master before ET. I also did, but I don't know what level I went. I did 2 or 3 or something. But now, yeah, now she does crystal energy healing. You can still do hands-on healing, and the clearer you become as a person and all your energy field is clearing, the more you can see where people are out of balance. And when you do energy healing, it's going to be beautiful. It's just not Reiki in that way. I don't know if anyone else wants them to talk about their experience. Do you want to try again, Tamsin? Do you think you're... Say words and let's see if it works. Oh no, I can't hear you. Boo. I don't know why. Gabby said, check your microphone options. Who else is... Okay, so how about I open the field to questions, because I know that people have questions probably, and I've probably forgotten to say things, and then it'll prompt me to... Hi, Roger. Oh,
there we go. There we go.
Yep. I was like, oh no, you as well.
No. I'd just like to say that this is the best description that you've given, and I've seen you talk a number of times now in Exeter 3.5 years ago. I sent you an email in January, and you replied asking me whether I'd got support and all this sort of stuff, which I didn't reply to that because I thought, what's all this about? But I think everything you said about, you know, procrastination and all this sort of stuff, I tick all the boxes there. I think also I wasn't sure when I sent the email whether you were in Exeter or in Edinburgh or wherever, because I know you said before that it takes 2 days or whatever, so I'd obviously have to get some accommodation up there, etc., etc., etc. So which I'd always have to plan, and so on and so forth. So the other thing is that I have a kidney stone which I was putting off, hoping it would go away. But I've while it's not giving me any problems, it is possibly giving me some peripheral situations which I've decided that I need to get it done. But there's a waiting list on the NHS, so I might be going private for that. But it's all up in the air. I don't know. But I want to do this as sooner rather than later. I really do.
I think medical, you know, it doesn't matter if you do it before or after medical.
Yeah.
There's no bearing on that. And
No.
So yeah, there would be that, you know, if people come from far away, then I suggest like they could do you know, like a Monday and a Wednesday, or if you could go a bit longer, Monday and a Thursday, or Tuesday and a Thursday, or something like that. If you were coming up here, or sometimes I travel, like I sometimes go to Exeter, sometimes I'm in London. I do move around, but less obviously in the last.
Well, I think probably Edinburgh is.
But if I just want to, if this is about logistics and your story and what
sure,
just do that on an email, I think, because otherwise this is going to go out to hundreds of people.
Sure, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
well, I just want to do it as soon as possible, actually.
And I'm glad you enjoyed today's, because I was like, I don't know if I
Well, you've got it all. You've got it. You've made it succinct, but very
ish.
very explained it in a very down to earth way.
Okay, thank you. That's good to
Very
know.
excellent, absolutely excellent.
Thank you, Roger.
And
Nice to see you
so I'm
again.
going to have to go now because I've got
Okay.
some stuff to do. But
Nice to see you, and thank you.
I'll reply to your email,
Yeah.
and we'll talk later. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Bye now. Bye.
Doreen, I think you have your hand up.
Oops.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the dark here. This is brand new to me. I have a question. I'm definitely the older Aura. I'm 63.
Yep.
I've been dealing with intense headaches since an accident 8.5 years ago.
Hmm.
There's nothing physically wrong. I've tried so many different things. And to me, it feels like an energy blockage or something. Or maybe I'm expanding so much and my body just can't keep up. I'm just wondering if something like this could help.
So I have worked with 1 or 2 people before that have like a never-ending headache thing, which is really debilitating and really
It
uncomfortable.
is.
So I can't, in those experiences, there was very different situations for them. And I remember one, it took like 10 times longer than normal to dissolve the old aura, but it did dissolve eventually. But the headaches did get better for a while, but they didn't necessarily get rid of them completely. It was something else. I don't even know if years later if something happened, but I think they did go eventually. So I would just say I can't promise anything to do with, a physical
Yeah.
debilitation. It could be that this is exactly what you need, but I don't want to get your hopes up,
I know.
So
No,
I always think with aura transformation is that it doesn't, as I said, it doesn't solve all your problems or your physical problems, but it will give you more energy, drive, and like more ability to find the solutions that you need, maybe, or to tap into your intuition, or to be able to hear what the next steps are better, So it gives you more sort of oomph and
yeah.
more ability to maybe find the right solution. And if it was a miracle, which it can be, it could be a solution that really helps. But yeah, I don't want to promise or put your hopes up or
Yeah.
anything.
No, I understand. It's just, I feel so drawn to, there's something more for my life. If there isn't, like, I'm ready for it to be over, because this is just so incredibly debilitating. And
I hear you.
yeah, I've
Maybe
done,
if you want to talk to me, like maybe when I send the email out, you could email me and we could look at, I do kinesiology, which is muscle testing the body, and we can actually do a session that for whatever you need, but also ask, is oral transformation the right thing for me?
okay.
So that
Okay,
might.
sure.
Oh, thank
That'd
you.
be great. Thank you.
Take care. Anyone? Oh, Gabby says, you want to share a bit about your aura transformation?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I am in Oregon in the US, and I aura transformed a year ago. And when I saw Sarah for the first time, I was in a really difficult time in my life, and I remember I was praying. I did know that there was something more. Like I've always felt it, and in that time I was exploring a lot of spiritual practices, but in my own way. And I never felt like I felt drawn to spiritual communities, but I also felt very like there was something off about him. I always felt it. And I think and now that I'm aura transformed, I can tell that I was an indigo and old soul aura. So because I can feel it, because I'm still a little bit indigo-ish, it's like I feel very crystal in like very crystal in my energy.
look-
Like
You look
I
more
can see-
crystal today than I've ever noticed before.
yes,
Like
I
now.
also
I'm like, oh,
feel it. Oh, good. But I definitely sense like I can relate to my indigo-ish energy because I was always repelling spiritual practices. And yeah, so when I heard of Aura Transformation, it was like AT. I heard Sarah say Aura Transformation, and I was like, Aura? Like, and I had to look it up and I researched and I just knew. So when people ask me, one second, I have some people coming. Yeah, sorry. Some people are doing some stuff. So yeah, when I heard about Aura Transformation, I just knew. So when people ask me like, what should I do? I'm just like, you just kind of know.
Mm.
At least for me, I just knew. And the difference after I got Aura Transformed, pretty much for me, besides getting like my eyes becoming very clear, the colors, it was the silence. Like I felt silent and I felt this inner trust and I felt my inner child, which I think it's my spirit. Like the innocence of the spirit came through. And when I see myself with love. I see myself very different. Like I don't judge myself so much. I accept myself a lot more. I feel like I'm okay with me and my body. Like I feel okay. Like I'm not looking at my body like, oh, I have a jelly roll, I have like I look fat or I look skinny. I am like complete okay with all of me.
Mm.
And also what I think is like amazing is like how I feel my body. My body feels a lot different. Like I feel like the communication with my body became a lot stronger than before. It's like my body speaks to me constantly. And yeah, so I feel that communication with my body is like it's still pretty amazing because I just feel how the body awareness is so important and it's so great. It's a whole spiritual awakening for me to feel how my body speaks to me constantly and has so much wisdom.
And I think I'm just remembering a little bit like how you were before, because I didn't aura transform you, but I've been working with you online, so I've seen you through the whole thing. And I just it's just reminding me quite a lot about how it is to work with people in the UK too, certainly in Scotland, if they are in spiritual, like they're interested in spiritual stuff and they're in those worlds, in those realms for themselves. When they have the aura transformation, it's like it is really that whole thing of pulling someone out of a noisy, messy, energetic swamp of information into their own power and energy and thoughts and feelings. You know, it's like a pop, and it's just so nice to see that you've not got all that, you know, noisy, from a mixture of old energy practices and old esoterics and shamanism and paganism and things that are quite old energy now. And now you're stepping into like your own truth, and it sometimes doesn't look at all like it did before. And it's just really nice to see. I can really see the crystal energy today. So that's nice to see.
Yeah, I think spirituality became a lot more clear and a lot more grounded. It doesn't feel like I'm so like, ooh, about it. It's just, it makes more sense and it's so much grounded. It's just, you feel it more in oneness with it. And yeah, and you can see the difference.
And I'm wondering if, just because you have worked with me quite a few times in different things, like you've done Love Again and you've done, what else did you do?
Transmute distortion a little bit, but Money Gateway, I would say I did more. Transmute distortion.
I'm just because people here, there's so many people I've never heard, they've never met me or heard of me or anything, and I just wonder if you want to share a little bit about my teaching style or like what it's like to work with me and in the group.
Yeah. So with group kinesiology, I've gotten so much depth from group work. Like if you're into the healing arts, I feel like you get a lot of sense of how it feels to do healing work, but in your own energy. Because I think because of the like the aura transformation thing, you're very into like everybody in their own energy. And then kinesiology work, I think it's amazing because you go into many levels of imbalances. So for me, Love Again has been like an activation for healing work. Because I feel like even though like I was doing it for my heart to gather all my heart from other people, but I noticed that that workshop is still working in me after like a year and a half. I still feel, because I can feel my heart when it's going to give somebody or when it's stretching out for somebody. So I kind of collect myself and kind of expand, and I can feel how my heart is like a healer's heart in a way, because it's always like opening up. So when I feel my heart opening up, I know there's somebody around me that needs something, that is like in need of love or something. I don't really know what it's going on, because I'm still feeling my body and learning a lot about my healing natural path, but I feel the Love Again really gathered me. I did that before AuraTransformation, and I felt very solid in my energy, and I felt very disconnected from people that used to need me, and it felt really healthy. It balanced a lot of relationships, and it taught me naturally how to balance my own relationships with people.
Yeah, I think they really work well. All the things work well together and for different things.
Yeah, and also the father and the mother, how to mother and father yourself. Like, I feel like it's taught me how to heal myself, how to heal my inner child, like all the journeys that you go into the kinesiology with the inner child has taught me the mechanics of really understanding and sitting with my inner child, which is taking time. I feel like I'm doing it better now than at that time, but it's coming from your course of Love Again. Like, I'm still learning things from those courses.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just finished a Love Again today, last call for the group 8, and they were celebrating how much they transformed, and it was crazy. And one was like, I hated group work. I never thought I'd get on with group work, and I love group work now. Like, everyone learns so much from each other. It's the same on an Aura Mediator course. You all learn so much from each other's process, and watching each other transform and helping each other out and hearing all the stories and practitioner stories. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. And that's like my dream, is to, that we are really embodied, grounded, strong practitioners that really do good, safe, valuable work for people. And I think that Aura Transformation is just such a gift to give to people. And I don't know, we'll try one more time for Tamsin. Do you think you're able to talk or not? I don't know where you've
Okay,
got.
can you hear me this time?
Oh, hey!
Hooray!
Hang on.
What is the universe up to?
Hang on a minute.
Hey.
So yeah, I was just introducing you before as like this perfect Aura transformation. There we go.
Oh, yeah. So I was in a place where I didn't know where my life was going, what I was supposed to do next. And I think I connected with you through Bright Sky. And there was something came up, some post or other, and I just thought, yes, I want to do that. And I came down to Exeter. I think you arranged that you would be down in Exeter, and I came down and saw you, and it was, everything just flowed. I was like, how am I going to travel all this way and do all of this? And it was from having made the decision to do it, everything flowed into place. And then I transformed literally, I think, between having my AT doing and then coming back from my balancing. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
I had that big bust up with the guy who kept reversing his car into mine. And I'd been such a people pleaser, and I would never have confronted anybody. And I actually got out of my car, knocked on his window and said, would you please stop reversing into my car? Because he did it 3 times. And it was just that whole, yeah, I'm allowed to take up space. I'm allowed to be here. And for me, that was the biggest thing from the AT, was feeling really physically in my body. It even felt different to walk on the floor, to get off the couch and walk out to the door.
And that happens a
like,
lot.
oh.
It's like, welcome to Earth, spirit.
it really was. It was like, oh, this is what my body feels like. And I'm like, after how many decades here, it was like, okay. And then that whole, yeah, I can take up space. And it's not at anybody else's expense. It's just who I'm supposed to be. And then I was just like, yeah, I need to do more of this. And then I came up to Edinburgh in April and did the Mediator training. And again, all of that just flowed. It was like even getting somebody to come with me to be my client. I spoke to a friend and she was like, I want to do it. And it's just those kinds of things of just the connection and the synchronicities and feeling that I do belong here. It was the first time I really felt that I belong here, that I'm supposed to be here. And that's continued. And so, yeah, I think for me, it's a bonus being able to help other people move into that space and being able to do the aura transformations for people.
How did you find the course? Yeah.
The Aura Mediator course, it was incredible. Just to be with other people who had crystal energy and not to feel that I was the only one. And yeah, just that clarity of communication between us. And then doing the course, it was just, there was a little bit of, oh my God, this is a huge responsibility. How are we going to be able to do these transformations? Because we started straight away and we were transforming people almost immediately. But once we tap into that energy, once I was actually connected to my own crystal energy, the instructions were guidance. The energy does it itself, being connected to the crystal energy and just allowing it to flow. It all does its thing. It's like there's no need to worry about whether you can do it or not. It's just connect in and it will do what it needs to do for the person. So most of the course is about, I think was about building my confidence in that I knew the theory of what we were doing, but then trusting the energy to be able to do it for.
Oh. What happened? I think her internet just dropped out. She did say it was ropey internet where she is. Wowzers. Well, I just know that it's been an amazing journey for Tamsin, and also being able to be an aura mediator. And everyone says the same thing. They're like freaked out. Am I going to be good enough? Can I do this? I don't know. And then when they actually do the course and put your hands on your first client, you can feel the energy running, and it's an incredible gift. And even over the pandemic, when we didn't really do any, and you put your hands on your first client after that, it's an incredible feeling and such a gift to be able to offer it. So if you're looking to have your aura transformation, go back to the person that sent you here, or you can come to me and write to me. I have an application form for like waiting list, because I'm traveling a lot, and if I'm in the state, I'm collecting people that want to see me one-to-one in Kansas. I'll have a handful of spaces before the course starts, and then obviously I'm in near Edinburgh, so you can come here. And I have to say that I've had more people travel internationally on airplanes to come to see me for treatments than I have had local people come. I'm not sure Scotland's quite ready, and I'm very excited that one of the people training in September is a Scottish lady, and there's a few of us in Scotland doing the work. So yeah, there is plenty of aura mediators dotted around. So if you ask me, if you don't know who your closest one is, you can ask me. There are a couple in the States. There's one in Chicago, there's one in New Mexico, and there's one in LA. So there is options there if you want to go and get it done. If you want to train, you have to have your aura transformation 2 months before. At least, minimum, and it would be better longer, to be honest, so that you can go through the crystallization process more. I was one of those that went 2 months straight after my aura transformation. I went straight in, and yeah, I mean, that's how it worked for me, but it is probably better if you can ground into it a bit more. So there are options of get your aura transformation wherever you can, so that you can join one of the courses if that's of interest to you. I'll send everything in an email, and I did promise that I'll do a little demo. It's getting a bit late now, so I don't know if people will stay for it, but we can do a quick one anyway, and I can just let people know that if they tune in to the end of the replay, that they can catch that. So if you close your eyes, we'll just do it together. Just a very short little demo of what it feels to really reclaim more of your energy. So I'm asking you to pull in your own attention, awareness, energy that you give out to people all the time. You give. You're thinking, and doing all the time. And it's just a moment right now for you to pull your energy back into your body. It's like recharging the batteries. It's reclaiming your power. It's untangling from the field. So it's a tangible feeling. You don't just sit and wait for me to do it for you somehow. You're actually doing it for yourself. So it feels like a kind of suction inwards, of pulling your energy in. And you can pull your energy in from your own mind if you spend a lot of time in your own head. Pull your energy in from your past, even where maybe you've given a lot of energy in different workplaces and different schools and different people and relationships. So pulling your energy in from all angles, and you can just feel it pouring back into your body. Feel yourself getting denser, more solid, more grounded, more full. One big final push to pull your energy in. Like I'm having my energy back now. Nice. And then send energy away that does not belong to you. So it's the opposite. Anyone else's thoughts, feelings, pushing and pulling your energy, wanting things from you, putting energy on you, people that are annoyed with you or even infatuated with you, whatever it might be, energy coming towards you, you're pushing it away, making space around you. So a lot of energy on your back, on your shoulders, on the back of your head, really make space from that. And it could be energy from the TV, from the internet, from outside noise, from things that influence you, history, culture, society, collective consciousness, all sorts of energies that weigh down on your energy somehow. So make space, push energy away that does not belong to you. Again, it has to come from your will and your wanting to do it and you're trying to do it. It's not me doing anything. Pushing energy away that does not belong to you. Making room around you so you can expand. You can, instead of pushing energy away, you can also just make yourself bigger. That will push energy away that doesn't belong to you. So you're unfolding yourself. Maybe you've been people pleasing. Maybe you've been shrinking yourself or folding yourself up to fit in or something. So just like, unwind the shoulders, let your wings out, let your mind expand, let yourself take up room and space. And just see if you can connect with your spirit energy. For some of you, it might be somewhere above or somewhere else. For some of you, it's in your body. And just really connect with your own spirit energy, your own truth. And you can ask yourself, is this the right path for me? Feel how your body feels. And just create like a little handshake with your own spirit that you want to hear you want to express your truth and step into your mission and into your dharma, into your path. You want to trust your spirit to lead you in the right direction. No longer deferring your power and energy onto other people and governments and teachers and psychics or whatever, and really start making this beautiful relationship with your own heart, your own body, and your own consciousness and spirit. Lovely. So just bring yourself slowly back. I hope you enjoyed this talk and you got something out of it. I think that a combination of my first talk, the talk I did a year ago, and this one probably together in bits probably make a really perfect talk. It's just such a vast thing. There are like 30 videos on my YouTube of different things, more into the crystal indigo children, more about weird entity things. There's more on the crystallization process and other aspects of being aura transformed and being an aura mediator. There's so much information out there. So please reach out to me if you want to discuss or you don't know which direction to go in. I do have all that other work too. If you're not ready for an aura transformation, like the Love Again would really help you get ready for it, if that's one of your paths. If you're a practitioner, you know, there's the Visibility Gateway, which can really help you become more visible with your healing work. So yeah, there's a lot there. So welcome to my world. There's so many new faces or people here. Really appreciate you staying to the end. And I'm so sorry it's so long again. I'm going to have to figure out some kind of way of, I don't know how to shrink it. Any feedback about the talk, even like a couple of lines, if you want to put it in here, or if you want to send it in the email, that would be amazing. Just so if I share about this talk, let people know what they thought. And thank you for all of you that have shared as well. I really appreciate it. And yeah, wishing you all the best. And I hope to connect with you soon. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.